Hey traders, Michael or Minifrost here. You're here for another episode of Common Sense Market Analysis. Today is Thursday, July 31st, 2025. You're looking at a daily chart of the SPY or spiders, which is the proxy for the S&P 500. What do we have on the docket today? Well, we got a ton of stuff to talk about, but first, let's talk about how I just recorded this entire video with absolutely no audio. So I'm sorry if this video is a little bit later than usual. Definitely learned my lesson with this one, so I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. This is what happens when you're a rookie on the field in the YouTube stuff. What are you going to do? Anyways, let's start with the fact that she's down almost 0.4%, and we had a nice little gap and crap fake out situation. After Microsoft and Meta came out with earnings yesterday, she shot them up to new all-time highs. And then what did she do? She wasn't able to sustain the new all-time highs. We'll dive into that a little bit later. One thing to take note is that we did manage to make new lows compared to yesterday's session, but we did not, and I repeat, did not close at the lows. We actually closed above the low from yesterday. That's a little bit of a puzzle piece information that we'll put on the table. Today was an absolute numbers bonanza day. So much so that a longtime member, Sneer, who's been trading by our sides for a while now, sent me an email a few hours ago saying today's numbers were so accurate it felt like cheating. SPY and Qs pretty much bounced on all their numbers. We'll get to that when we go over inside the numbers later. But IWM R1 was high of day. How you doing? IWM R1 221.60. High of day 221.60. Spiked it by a little, nevertheless high of day. How do you like dem apples? And so was gold R2. How you doing? Gold R2 3363 came up a few cents short. We don't split hairs over pennies. How about crude oil? S1 was low of day. How you doing? Crude oil 68.60. Low of day 68.60. How do you like dem apples? Funny how that works. We'll get into some of the other stuff later, but this is just a few examples of our number bonanza day. Thanks a lot, Sneer, for the email. Let's go back and talk a little bit more about the spiders and where she's at. So listen to this. We're past Kabuki Day. And yes, I know I did say Jeremy Powell. Apologies on that. I knew I messed up once I saw the comment section and was getting absolutely flamed. We'll say that's our little inside joke. Anyways, that's besides the point. We're past Kabuki Theater Day. We're past a lot of the tariff schmariff talk. We're still talking about it, but a lot of the trade deals have already been announced. And we are through the heart of earnings season. We got all the major tech earnings out of the way with the minor exception of Nvidia. And look at what Mrs. Market did after Meta and Microsoft came out with their earnings. She poked her head above new all-time highs, but she couldn't sustain it and then fell right back down, giving us a fake out gap and crap situation. So what does that mean for Mrs. Market? Well, if Meta and Microsoft, which make up a good chunk of the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, they came out with pretty good earnings yesterday and jolted the market up, but we weren't able to sustain price at these all-time highs. So if these major players like Meta and Microsoft, if they start to fall, then that could lead to another bout of selling. So there's a little bit of uncertainty in the market right now. We're past a lot of the major events. We're past Kabuki Theater. We're coming to the end of the heart of earnings season. So now we're pretty much just waiting for Mrs. Market to start showing her true hand. And all this uncertainty in the market right now makes technical analysis that much more important. So let's go into some technical analysis stuff. First off, we got some unfinished business at 628.86. That falls right in line with home base, and she could possibly spike it down to this breakdown candle high. If we get below that, then we start to look at the trend line that we've been talking about for a few days/weeks now. This trend line is important. Mrs. Market certainly knows about this trend line. And just to throw in another number that coincides with the trend line, get your sticky notes out, 624.25. It's an important number. I did the mathematics. It falls in line with this trend line right here. There's a breakup candle low. You bet that this number is going to be important, at least from an intraday perspective. And I did forget to mention, I talked about it in the video that I recorded with zero audio, but in the live room yesterday, we were pounding the table towards the downside. More so, Jordan was the one pounding the table towards the downside. We were loading up on some puts, As you guys know, my dad wasn't the biggest fan of the VIX, but for those of you in the live room, you certainly know that Jordan is a big fan. And he was calling out yesterday that the VIX hit a key level for the first time in many months, and getting to that level generally causes a reaction in the market, which is exactly what we experienced just now. We had a fake out situation today, trying to shake out some weak hands, but if traders held, they certainly got paid. Remember how I said we had a numbers bonanza day today? Well, that certainly was the case in Inside the Numbers and the live room today, trading the S&P. Stay tuned because we got a lot of stuff to go over, starting with the morning pivot at 637.75. Right at the vertical line is today's activity. We got the pivot in green, and how you doing? The low was 637.69. Spiked it by a few cents, but pretty much nailed it right on the dot. This was the morning pivot trade. It's important to know your pivots. If you looked at the email this morning, I literally gave you the pivot number. I very rarely do that, but for some reason this morning I did. If you saw the email and had 637.75 on your chart and took the trade, you certainly got paid. And you bet that live room and Inside the Numbers took this exact pivot trade. This is the classic trade that we always have in the morning, or at least one of the classic trades that we have. Let's go take a look at some other stuff that we got. If she starts closing candles below the pivot, the next numbers in the sequence are at 636.80. Note, she can spike that number by a touch and get down to the next number at 636.20. We'll call it a mini zone of support. And if we get below that, 635.25 to 634.45 are the next numbers in the sequence. We got both the numbers up on the board, starting with 636.80. As you can see, just like I said in the notes, she can spike it. This was a mini zone of support that we had. She did spike the number, but did give you the bare minimum base hit. Base hits put you in the Hall of Fame. But what looks even more appealing is this 635.25 number. Spiked it by a few cents, pretty much nailed it on the freaking dot. Who else does this? And guess what? Where was the target on the upside? You guessed it, the freaking pivot. It's so important to know your pivots in the morning. And I literally gave you the pivot this morning. You're welcome. Pause the video, read the notes, and go back to the charts to double check the work. Everything's all here, written out early in the morning. You got intraday updates. If you don't know your early morning pivots, come over here and we'll show you the pivots. We'll show you where the numbers are each and every day. Real quick, we had a final profit target in CNI from the Lazy Swing Trader Automagical Algos system. This was the final profit target for a 10% gain. And by the way, this is our first ever promotion for the Lazy Swing Trader Automagical Algos system. 87% win rate this year. We have a discount on both the quarterly and annual plan. And if you do purchase the annual plan, that includes 1 free year of the Magic Calculator with almost a $1,500 value in itself. That also comes with some exclusive bonus packages. It comes with a tutorial on how to use the Magic Calculator, along with the ultimate PDF guide on how to use it, and some rare trading videos from my dad. David, get on your horses because this deal is only going to be available for a short time only. Let's take a look at Camp IWM. She's down 1%, down a little bit more than $2, and we continue to get follow through. She's now continuing to close below the 20-period moving average. The next destination is going to be this 200-period moving average, which also falls in line with the most recent breakout area. That comes in at around 216, give or take. My number one favorite market leading indicator, starting to show some signs of bearish behavior, closing below the 20-period moving average, on her way down to the convergence of the 250-period moving average with this breakout area. We'll keep an eye out on Camp IWM. What about the folks at the transportation department? She's down 0.4%. My second favorite market leading indicator. I threw up a number on the board yesterday at 15,365. And what did she do today? She made a low of 15,386. Came up about 20 bones short. If I move this line out of the way and get rid of it, we can see that she barely missed the 50-period moving average, and we did manage to close above it. So right now, we're below the 20-period, 200-period, and now we're about to test the 50-period moving average, pretty much right on the number that we stated. We also talked about this number on the board, 15,218, give or take. This is a support zone. She already came up a little bit short of the first number and bounced away from it, so this is kind of a first time, best time situation. But nevertheless, right here between these two numbers is a support zone. Starting to get below this low, which is the entrance to no man's land. It's not a big no man's land, but it's still considered one. That is a bull-bear battle. And then you have this gap down below, right here at around 15,100. Give or take. So DJT is coming into a lot of important stuff right now. You got to keep an eye out for DJT. Came up short of the first number, first time, best time situation. We'll see what she wants to do. She can go back up to retest the 200 period moving average, but staying below that and closing candles below is a warning sign. Hint, hint. What about the Q people? She's down 0.5%, down $3. Little gap and crap situation. And let's check out what the high was. The high was 574.63. Our number for Inside the Numbers and live room members was 574.30. How you doing? That was pretty much high of day. So unlike the spiders, we did manage to close below yesterday's low. So that is some more puzzle piece information that we'll put on the table. She's now beginning to be in the orb, the vicinity of the 20 period moving average. We haven't touched it since June 23rd, so a little bit more than a month. Markets don't like to be too extended from home base. Just for fun, I'll throw a number at you guys. 558, it's this breakup candle low. It's a spike of the 20 period moving average, and that could be an area of support at least from an intraday perspective. But remember, we're in a little bit of an uncertain market right now. We got past a lot of those major news events. We got past Kabuki Theater. We're now past the heart of earnings season, with the exception of Nvidia. So she's going to show us her true hand, where Mrs. Market really wants to go. And this is why technical analysis at this point is so damn important. What about the financials, XLF? She's down 0.6%. Nice little tail candle here with some decent volume. And look at this. We finally decided to close below the 20 period moving average. Next destination is going to be this breakup candle low. And depending on the time that we get there, the 50 period moving average can already be aligning with that breakup candle low. And then what you got is the entrance to no man's land. Right here is the entrance to no man's land. This is a bull-bear battle. It's a spike of the 50 period moving average. This is going to be a fight right here. If we start to get down and close candles below that, then the next important area is this gap right here at around 50.82. But that's a ways away, probably not going to get there anytime soon, but let's go ahead and clear up some of the noise, and all she's doing right now is running a test of the most recent breakup candle low. Look at this, the low right here of this breakup candle low is 52.37, closed today 52.37. There's no accidents or coincidences in the market. She's above all the moving averages. If there's nothing wrong with the financials, then there's nothing wrong with the overall structure of the market. Last but not least, we got SMH shaking my head, the semiconductors. She got taken out behind the woodshed. She's down 2.5%. And what did she do? She ran another test of the 20 period moving average. But the common theme with SMH is that she continues to close candles above the 20 period moving average. Doesn't mean she'll do that tomorrow, doesn't mean she'll do that the next day on Monday, but it's a common recurring theme. But anything can change with a snap of the fingers like Thanos. Currently, she's still above all the moving averages, so the trend is your friend. We'll find out sooner or later if that remains true. If we start to get below these lows right here, the next destination on the board becomes this breakup candle low. And again, we have this 50 period moving average creeping upon it. Have I told you all how much I appreciate each and every one of you? Without you guys, these videos or MSF would not be possible. That is true and accurate information. Put it on a sticky note. Once again, I apologize that this video is going to be coming out late. Not only did I have to re-record the entire video because there was no audio in the first one, but as I'm editing the second video, I realized that after I got to the Qs, the chart was stuck on DJT, the transportation department. So I had to redo that entire other section. These are just rookie mistakes. I'm going to live and learn. Making these mistakes is what helps you learn. So I'm just going to take it with a grain of salt, and I'm going to work on some recording and editing stuff this weekend. With that said, we're going to pull the ripcord for today. Thank you all so much for tuning in for another episode of Common Sense Market Analysis. I'm Mini Frost. We'll be back ready to go in uniform for tomorrow's morning session, and I'll see you guys in the video on Monday. Have a great weekend and take care, folks.